am so excited for this opportunity to introduce you to an organization that is very much at the heart of everything we do here at LindaPaige. I have the privilege, the joy, and the honor of sitting next to Danny Johnson, who also happens to be my business coach and my mentor, through which I have shared many, many stories of how our lives have been totally transformed through an event called First Steps to Success, our marriage, our parenting, our businesses, and in fact, talking about business, where LindaPaige was birthed. It was through the coaching of my coach and mentor right here, Danny, who inspired me to get my life back in order and to just get my priorities right, because I was married to my career, and anyway, that's another story.
You were having an affair with your career.
I was having a full-on fling. I was married 7 times. I had no business being married to my awesome husband, who is phenomenal. You're so right. That is so true.
It was. Seriously.
Gosh, no, absolutely.
And he was having an affair with his career as well.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
anyway, sorry.
We were just, so right. So First Steps to Success is where LindaPaige was actually birthed. It was where I got the inspiration, one of those aha moments, to use a DannyJohnson.com product called Gems for our style profile. And many of you have had experience with that, and many of you haven't. And I wanted to take a few minutes, and we have the awesome privilege today to have the corporate sponsor to KingsRansom available to us for a few minutes, because I wanted to humanize the heart and the heartbeat behind KingsRansom for a couple of minutes, because 90% of all products that we sell here at LindaPaige go straight to KingsRansom, which is www.kingsransom.org. And the reason why we have chosen to partner with this amazing organization is because 100% of our money goes directly to the widow, the orphan, the poor, the sick, the elderly, and from rescuing men, women, and children from the sex trade. I discovered human trafficking in 2011. I don't know how I got to 38, 39 years old and didn't know about that. Yep. And I was so excited to come across an organization where 100% of our donations and our clients' donations go straight to fighting human trafficking because of a corporate sponsor that this charity has. And the reason why we're humanizing and bringing to you a message directly from KingsRansom is because when you say the word charity, I know that a lot of people feel jaded. And then you read the headlines of papers and there's charities who actually take money and actually put it in their pockets. It's wicked and it's evil, but they'll have their day. So everything we do here at LindaPaige is twofold, is to bring women together, to get up, dress up, and be that bold light on a hill that you and I need to be. And secondly is to put fashion to work for the poor, to really change the world one woman at a time, one wardrobe at a time, and it is happening. So Danny, thank you so much for your time. This is such a joy and such a great opportunity.
I'm, as you can see, I'm like welling up because I remember when you got that revelation and pulling the whole thing together. To hear you talking about this is like profound to me. But I want to talk a little bit about what Linda's saying, because the fact is that I was one of those jaded people that whenever I would see advertising for charities, whenever I would see, any kind of marketing about it, it just made me mad, because then I would go and I would look behind the scenes. And it's really easy to do that because a 501c3, everything has to be public. And so when you see that, like with the United Way, the director's making $1.2 million, right? And here, here's all the advertising. Oh, they're using a child to get money, and then they're making $1.2 million a year from doing that. Now, okay, that's fine. That's prerogative, but that just makes me sick to my stomach personally. Not to mention the fact that even, like the Red Cross, $600,000 a year, or many of these others that have a Bentley, pick them up at their private jet when they're flying in. They have crazy expense accounts, and it just irks the heck out of me. And so why do I support KingsRansom Foundation? I'm going to tell you why. The deal that was made was, okay, listen, I'm going to use 100% of the profits that come from my company, which is DannyJohnson.com, Destiny Global, and we produce a tremendous amount of training materials for people just like Linda, for companies, also for employees, communication skills, debt reduction skills. In fact, Linda and her husband have paid off over $260,000 worth of debt in 2.5 years. They're completely debt-free. And then, so we help people pay off debt. So I developed developed these training materials based on what we did from experience, my husband and I, what we had to learn, the big giant failures that we had. I was a former homeless woman who had been raped and gang raped. I had messed around with drugs. I had given my body over to too many people. I had messed up my life so very badly and had been suicidal from the time I was 6 until I was in my early 30s. And so there was a lot that I had to learn, a lot I needed to be healed from, a lot of business things that I needed to understand through, again, trial and error. And I've been training and developing people for the last 27, I can't believe it, almost 28 years that I've been doing what I'm doing. But you come to a point after you've made millions of dollars, you're like, what is this all for? You know, you can only buy so many houses, you can only go on so many trips, you can only buy so much jewelry. And I just found myself really empty until something moved on my heart. And that was that my life was to be used as a purpose for those who have no voice, for those who have no ability, those who've not been born in maybe the right house or the right soil even, or even a country that you can, you know, like I was born in the U.S. I had the opportunity to be anything I wanted to be. And yet still so many people born here don't do anything with their lives. And so the bottom line is that when it came to being able to use my life to take care of the poor, you know, to build 1,000 homes for the extreme poor, to take care of thousands of orphans every single month, feeding them, caring for them, clothing them, educating them, helping them even go to college. When it came to like, wow, the money that we make, we don't need more money. We can point all of that money, all of the profits from this incredibly profitable company. And after the staff is taken care of, and of course, Uncle Sam, which is our government, gets more than their fair share, then what are we going to do with the rest? And so we decided to point all of the profits straight to taking care of the extreme poor, straight to these poor little 3 and 4-year-olds and 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds who've been forced to have sex with a grown man 10, 20 times a day, and yet they're voiceless. They have no voice. Right here, Linda, I don't know if you heard this. This is disgusting to me. That right here in the United States, it's a problem. The sex trade is a problem right here. And in fact, we're not far away from the gateway to the sex trade in the United States, which is Houston, Texas.
Actually, Texas is the biggest gateway into human trafficking in your country.
Yes, and it's disgusting.
It's one of the reasons
and Houston, Texas is the city.
Yeah.
Like that's the port for the sex trade. And that's the place we have some of the largest churches in the world.
Yeah.
In the world that generate hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and they just turn their nose up to the sex trade. They're not doing anything for the poor. They're not helping the poor in their own city. In fact, when the hurricanes hit, they wouldn't even open their doors for now the new homeless, the new people that their houses were underwater and they had lost loved ones to death, and that church would not even open their doors to those people until the media came in and pounded them. And a week, 2 weeks later, like, okay, you can come and stay the night. Like, well, jeez, man, that just infuriates me beyond all belief. But the bottom line is why do we support KingsRansom? Because KingsRansom has a corporate sponsor. You're looking at her. The corporate sponsor takes care of all of the employees for KingsRansom. It takes care of all the paper clips, all the postage, the computers, the insurance, which our insurance in our country is disgusting. How much? For 2 employees, it's $25,000 a year for 2 employees to have insurance. And these are 2 fathers. So, of course, we provide all that. So, as the corporate sponsor, we provide all the expenses to be covered for KingsRansom. On top of, we actually take care of all 39, actually, it's now 40, all 40 organizations as well.
Wow.
Just the corporate sponsor. So, therefore, every donation that comes in from the donor, meaning you, the giver, where in fact, like with Linda, when you're doing business with Linda, that Linda has done the same thing I did, that she's devoting 90% of all of the profits straight to taking care of these causes. And why? For example, the 1,000 homes that was built. It took us 2.5 years to develop that project and to have it come to completion. The 1,000th family moved in December of last year. And so 1,000 homes that were built for the extreme poor. That's a minimum of 6,000 lives that have been impacted. And why? Because people like this who have said, we're going to devote a certain percentage of our business straight to helping these families. And not only was it homes, but it's also about sustainability projects. They are actually going through 2 years of learning on how to become entrepreneurs, how to start a business. They even were given seed to be able to do that, like chickens and sewing machines. And they're actually now of a better lifestyle, not only the home and the shelter, which they were living in plastic and cardboard, but now living in a home, having some dignity and dignity for their children. But now they're also being educated to be able to change their lives forever. Not to mention the orphans, where we've built orphanages all over the world, that these kids also are being trained up to win. They're being trained up with vision. They're being trained up with goals and skills that we know they're going to have moving forward. So how Linda is doing what she's doing with the woman with the heart that she has to be able to change lives on the front end and help to save marriages, with women being able to come into the beauty of what they're supposed to be, and then pointing that money towards taking care of the extreme poor. We supply over 1 million people every single day with fresh, clean water because of people like Linda, because of people like her clients, because of people like our clients who've all rallied together and said, listen, how much more money do we all need to make? How much more junk do we all need? How much more shopping do we need to do? We all have enough. And how can, with what we have with enough, and then use our talent and ability to be able to help real families, real moms, real grandmothers who've been forsaken by their families, how can we come in and help them and get them on a sustained path? And so KingsRansom is able to do that because A, there's a corporate sponsor that covers all the expenses. So then every single donation that comes in by generous givers, people with a heart like you, people like Linda, who then set aside a part of their business to be able to fund those other projects like the 1,000 slaves that are going to be rescued as a direct result of what Linda is doing, what Destiny Global is doing, what many other companies are doing, and even just the moms and dads that are working their blue-collar job or their white-collar job, whatever kind of a collar job it is that they have, that they're even going out there and campaigning for these kids that are being forced to have sex. Linda, did you know that even these little girls, that as early as the age of 10 and 11, when they start menstruating and they're forced to have sex 10 to 20 times with these grown men, that they get pregnant.
They have to go for an abortion.
They have an abortion.
Straight back
that day. So they'll have an abortion that morning, and by that afternoon, they're back in bed with a man. Could you imagine? And it's a 10-year-old, it's an 11-year-old, it's a 12-year-old. So we got to do something. And what Linda is doing is absolutely profound. And not to mention, I have to tell you, because we definitely have a lot of our clients that are working with her, the lives are being transformed. Linda, I have to tell you, one of my coaching clients is also one of your clients.
Oh, wow.
And just yesterday, Lori Otto.
Lori.
Yes,
and
I was in tears.
Oh.
I was in tears. I mean, this woman has
beautiful.
gone through a massive transformation from first steps and creating a dynasty. Their marriage has been saved. Just amazing things that have happened to this couple. But Linda, when she shared with me this, she says, I have found my confidence. She grew up in a really legalistic religious background that just cursed her beauty, cursed who she was as a woman. And when she learned that even from a biblical standpoint, right, and the things that you're leading women to understand about how to be able to use their body and how to discover the beauty that's within them, I was in tears as she was saying how her husband has just been, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. She feels more cherished as she's cherishing herself and going from this low level of self-esteem to now this woman who has confidence.
Gorgeous.
Yes, and she's a beautiful, beautiful young
She's
lady.
stunning.
She is stunning. And so what you're doing is so profound, and I am so blessed by the whole model of what you're doing, because women not only need this because the beauty is gone.
Yep.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Like, we are messy bun, saggy panted, greasy headed,
yeah.
gross,
Yeah.
man, of what we've become. And so I'm passionate about your business, and I'm passionate about your message. And I'm so excited that we are coming together to work together to help the extreme poor with using both of our business models to partner with KingsRansom. And KingsRansom is taking all of that money and putting it straight to the food, straight to the wells. They're not providing some luxurious lifestyle for some director in some big plush office in their posh jet, in their posh car. None of that nonsense at all. And so I really appreciate the example that you're setting and the charge that you're leading with, and that you would charge other entrepreneurs to do the same exact thing. So,
Danny, thank you for that story. It was Sean Harper, who is a client here and actually a very close friend of Danny's, and I'm just blessed to call him my brother in Christ. And he said to me about a year ago with LindaPaige, and he said, why are you doing this? And I told him, I want to give 90% to KingsRansom. He's like, why are you doing this? I'm like, because I want to put fashion to work for the poor. He said, no, why? I said, am I not articulating, am I not speaking well? Is it my accent? Should I slow down? He kept on pushing me, and he said, why are you doing this? And then he said, go give it more thought. And so I did. And I went upstairs to my hotel room, and I was packing, and then I burst into tears because God revealed to me that I was feeling guilty for having an equal heart for what I call the wealthy women of the West who are broken and isolated and on antidepressants, looking okay on the outside. But I love them as much as I do love the poor who really have no homes. And I didn't know that I was feeling guilty about that. I have got such a heart for women who are wealthy. We are so wealthy in every sense of the word. But I know what it's like to hate yourself. I know what it's like to not be able to look in the mirror. Until a year ago, I could not look in the mirror and say, I love you. And Linda, you're amazing. I'm 45 years old, and it took me 44 years to get there. And so my heart, here at LindaPaige, this is what we're doing. This is the passion behind. This is where the whole thing was birthed, is we all fight to find our passion and our purpose in life, right? But right where we are, as moms, as wives, as sisters, as daughters, as young 22-year-olds, that is our role. And we have to get up and dress up in that and say, okay, who's in front of me? But you can't love someone else until you love yourself. So that's a huge thing we're doing here. Laurie is such a wonderful client and an example, because the world has taught us, some through church and some not, is that beauty is evil and fashion is fickle and beauty is vain. It's a lie. And it's causing a distraction that's causing self-loathing and self-hate in women. And women, as the beautiful, influential, powerful, fierce, and feminine creatures that we are, and I am such a passionate anti-feminist. I'm not even going to go there. No time for that crap, sorry. I don't mind me saying. But we are women who love our men, raising young men to be good leaders. And this is where I learned it from. So friend, thank you for, if you're part of the LindaPaige community, thank you for your courage. Thank you for your bravery. I know how much courage it takes to face the man, the woman in the mirror. This is the woman, I have posted this many times. This is a woman whose husband, Hans, says, God made man, and he saw that it was good. Then, I love this. Then he made woman, and he was like, whoa, man. And it was good because you are beautiful. But you're beautiful because God made you. And beauty is an inside job. So friend, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time getting to know the corporate sponsor behind KingsRansom and why we do what we do. Because it is time for us to get up and dress up and be a bold light on a hill, for women to come together, to be for one another. There is a British poet, a very dead British poet, who said that if ever the women of the world come together purely and simply for the greater good of mankind, it will be a force such as the world has never known.
It's so
and
true.
That's what we're doing.
Amen.
So Danny, thank you for inspiring me. Thank you for First Steps to Success, which happens on a regular basis throughout the year, is what changed my heart, my life. It's what helped me to love me. And then suddenly I found my purpose. Then suddenly I found my passion, a whole lot of passion with my husband as well.
For the first time in your marriage.
For the first time. We had a sexless, loveless, desperately lonely marriage. I was a guilty, absent mom. We were drowning in debt. And today we're traveling the world. We have no fixed abode. I used to be a shopaholic, a total shopaholic. Now I'm wearing 100% of my closet. No waste, none. I'll have no waste now. We're traveling the world. We're spending time with our kids. It's marriage first, business comes last. And how is it that we are giving 90% of my business, which I'm like,
I know, that's shocking.
Because I'm one who used to be very money driven. But I know my strengths. This is why I'm doing that. I know that some people are better with money than me, so I'm just going to make it and say, can you take it and do what I really know the world needs. That's what we're doing. So if you're part of that, thank you so much. Thank you for, whatever you invest in yourself. Here at LindaPaige, our 123 Style Me online course is the 10 Steps to Style Success, taking you by the hand. It's a simple system, it works, and you can do it. Danny, thank you so much for bringing a human heart and a message to KingsRansom. It's been the most purpose-driven part of our lives yet.
Mine too.
Thank you for leading the way.
Thank you. It's awesome.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks.
Yay.
Thank you so much.